A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start with the first snippet. All-time low. When we compare two things, when it comes to comparison, we use all-time low. But in this context, what is all-time low? Rupee goes past. There is one important expression goes past 90 against the US dollar. You all know usually the US dollar conversion between 85, 80 and 87 Indian rupees. For the first time, it looks like in the recent past, it has gone past 90. That means the value of rupee has gone down. And when you see the expression goes past, go past, went past, that is an important pattern you have to focus on. Imagine I have crossed a building. Usually we say I crossed the building, but better sentence pattern, better syntax, I went past the building. That is a better one. I went past the building. Here rupee goes past 90 against the US dollar. Coming to the next one, public safety concern. When you see the word concern, you all know concerned person wrong. We should say person concerned. That you should recollect. US pauses immigration requests from 19 countries. 19 countries must have requested the US regarding immigration services, but keeping the public safety in mind, the US has paused, temporarily stopped. And when you see the word immigration, immediately you have to think of migration, exodus, immigrate, political turmoil, refugees, asylum, prejudice, bias, persecution, diaspora. All these words should pop up. Otherwise, nothing to learn. The US, important examples, the Netherlands, the Philippines, the Irish Republic, even those you have to. Alliance apprehensions. You all know the word alliance, that goes with political, sometimes countries also, ally, friend. They join hands together, we use alliance, political alliance. And apprehensions. I always tell students, before any competitive exam, don't try to have apprehensions. Means a fear that something bad is going to happen. Apprehension. But if you take the word form apprehend, it means arrest someone. A different meaning altogether. India bloc rock solid in Jharkhand Congress. Before any political party, you have to use a definite article the BJP, the Congress, that also you have to recollect. And here rock solid means very strong. Sometimes what happens, your confidence goes down. It touches the bottom. Then you have to say, my confidence has touched rock bottom. Touch rock bottom means the lowest level. That is also an important expression. Coming to the next one, disaster management. You all know the word disaster, an unfortunate incident, an incident or event that causes damage on a large scale. We also use words like catastrophe, mishap, disaster, calamity, and wreak havoc, that you have to recollect, cause damage on a large scale. Disaster management. Climate is breaching wall. There is one important word. I'm sure many of you know. Breach. Breach means a crack. But another meaning of breach, to violate. Someone violates a contract or an agreement, we say breach of contract, breach of the agreement. Breaching wall of urban metrics. Metrics means the standards, urban standards, metrics, urban. As a smart learner, you have to recollect urban, urbane. Urbane means what? Sophisticated, polished, refined, civilized, urbane. All that you have to recollect. Extreme events expose gaps in modern metros. some extreme events, it seems. Today we all know flash floods, urban floods. These are extreme events. They expose the gaps in when it comes to modern metros. Usually metros are modern. When you see the word metro, metropolitan city, cosmopolitan city, megalopolis. Megalopolis means a major city, very big city. It is like two or three metros together. Second, Ashes test goes with cricket. Ashes. There is rivalry between the UK and Australia when it comes to cricket, and British team, English team, Australian team, they compete with each other with a lot of passion. And this test is known as Ashes test, the test between England team and Australian team, English team and Australian team. Confident Australia looks to double lead. It looks like Australians have taken the lead. Based on that, they got confidence, and based on that confidence, they want arch rivals. Yes, very good. Who is this? Somu. I appreciate that. They try to double the lead. And when it comes to confident, what is the opposite word? Confident, opposite, diffident. Confidence, diffidence. That also you have to know. Coming to the main headline. Yesterday I did the editorial about this. Government withdraws order on Sanchar Sathi app. Yesterday's editorial all about this one, and in a nutshell, it goes with intruding someone's privacy, and there was an uproar, and it has been opposed by a lot of parties, stakeholders, and the opposition, especially the Congress party. Based on that, government withdraws order on Sanchar Sathi app. Order to handset makers recalled after outcry over installing. Outcry, protest, uproar, noisy protest. Intrusive app without consent. Why was it objected? Based on its intrusion. Intrude, to enter without permission. And entering one's privacy is not acceptable. And you all know what I said yesterday. Coming to the next one, cigarette levy will be shared with states. Finance Minister, levy, tax, and impose, all these words are related words. And when it comes to will be shared, immediately have to think of grammar. I will share that. That will be shared by me. This is active passive voice. Something we will share something, active voice. Something will be shared by us, passive voice. No compromise yet on territory in Ukraine talks. No compromise. You all know the word compromise. And coming to yet, it goes with Ukraine talks and goes with territory. But there's an important word, yet. Yet, it goes with negative and negative interrogative sentences. Usually, the train hasn't come yet, negative. Haven't you posted the letter yet, negative interrogative. But sometimes the short form, if someone asks you, has a train come? You can also say, yet to come. That is a different pattern, not the complete sentence. It's like a standard expression, yet to come. And you have to contrast this with still. Still is used in affirmative and interrogative sentences. Otherwise, nothing to learn. Opposition seeks scrapping of new labor codes. I did one editorial related to labor codes, and regarding that, the opposition wants the labor codes to be scrapped. Scrap in this context, to cancel, to withdraw, to remove. But usually scrap, waste material, we use the word scrap. Seek, you all know, to look for, to search for. Coming to the pick, but before that, Prajwal's plea to suspend sentence is rejected by High Court. Plea, a request, urge, and it has been rejected by the High Court. Coming to the beautiful pic, you can see a bird, you can see the water lily blooms, a red carpet welcome. I told many a time, red carpet welcome means what? A grand welcome, a warm welcome. And here, red carpet welcome to whom? White knight and egret, the species name, pauses in a pond overflowing with water lily blooms in Guwahati on Wednesday. These are water lily blooms, and you can see egret also, a bird species. Coming to the other one, airports witness chaos. Airports witness chaos as Indigo cancels at least 200 flights due to skewed roster. There are three important words, though first one is rather easy. Chaos, chaotic situation. What does it mean? Complete confusion. What is the other word? Skew. I have given already. Skew means it goes with designers to manipulate, to distort, skewed, distorted. And a roster. A roster means a plan or a strategy related to duties of employees of an organization. In this context, on which day a particular pilot has to come, on which, at what time he or she has to come, all that the duties of the employees of an organization, weekly, monthly, that is known as the turn of duty. Plan related to the turn of duty of employees of an organization. We use the word roster. That's an important one. Last minute ticket fare goes up to 1.3 lakh. Very surprising. What is the ticket fare within the country? 1.3 lakh. That is astonishing. And there's one important word, fair. F-A-I-R, fair, has three different meanings. Fair complexion, dark complexion. And something is fair means just, proper. Fair treatment, proper treatment. And when you go to the village once a week, village fair. But here what is the spelling? F-A-R-E. Fare means the cost. How much is the fare from Hyderabad to Delhi? That goes with the cost. 12 Maoists and 3 Jawans killed in heavy exchange of fire in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur. Heavy exchange of fire. Deported pregnant woman to be brought back. Someone has been sent out, going to get back. Brownish or wheatish. Very good. Who is this? Kavya. I appreciate. That's all from the front page. Let us go to today's editorial. Today's editorial, an important editorial. It goes with a stigma we have in our society, across the world for that matter, a disease. And you may get a passage related to this, an important, and not only that, when you read an editorial that goes with a particular disease, that goes with public health, when you read, you develop contextual awareness, lexical terms, word combinations, and that will help in the exam. May not be the same one, but related to public health, diseases on a large scale, epidemic, endemic, pandemic. This awareness will help in the long run. And today's editorial has about 15 words. Let us see what they are. The very first one, discriminatory, discrimination, showing bias or prejudice. Part of speech, adjective, treating people unfairly or unequally based on certain characteristics. Based on certain characteristics, you deal with people differently. That means you are discriminating. Impede, we have got many a time, part of speech verb. Impediment is a noun form. Impede means to block, to obstruct, hinder, slow down progress. And what are the words you have to recollect? Impediment, hindrance, hurdle, bottleneck. All these you have to. Gender discrimination, that's right. Satish Kumar. Stigma is an important word. Today it has been used in the editorial. It has its own significance. Stigma, part of speech noun, a mark of shame, disgrace, or strong social disapproval. Society does not accept something and they think that is something like shameful act. Then we use the word stigma. There is a stigma. an important word. Coming to the next one, predisposition. Disposition means your behavior, your mood, the way you carry yourself. Pre means before. Part of speech noun. A tendency or inclination to develop a certain condition or behavior. It goes more with behavior. You behave in a particular way. Then we say predisposition. Part of speech of susceptibility, noun. You have to recollect, think of susceptible, vulnerable. Vulnerability or tendency to be affected by something. You're likely to be affected by something, that means you are susceptible, you are vulnerable. Comprehensive, I have given many a time. Comprehensive, exhaustive, holistic, touching all the dimensions. Part of speech adjective, including all or nearly all aspects, thorough and complete. Rehabilitation. Rehabilitation goes with natural disasters, drug addicts, other victims. Part of speech noun, the process of restoring someone to health, normal life, or useful activity. Someone gets affected, then we try to rehabilitate. We try to bring back normalcy in that person's life. Derogatory, we have got many a time, piecemeal approach. Very good, Kavya. Derogatory statement, derogatory comment means insulting. Part of speech adjective, insulting, demeaning, disrespectful. Part of speech noun, a serious or emotional appeal, a request for action. You all know plea, a request, urge. Antediluvian, an important word. I've told you guys many a time, ANTI, anti means what? Against. What is the other anti? ANTE means before. Anti-submarine, against submarines. Anti before. Antenatal, postnatal. Here antediluvian, an important expression you have to remember. They have given many a time in banks and SSC. Antediluvian means something that belongs to the past. In a way, it is like outdated, no relevance in the modern times. Part of speech adjective, extremely old-fashioned and outdated, belonging to ancient times. Do remember an important one. Plethora, we have got many a time, something in abundance, in excess. We use a word plethora. Part of speech noun, an excessive or large amount of something. Unfathomable, fathom goes with measuring depth, and it is equivalent to 6 feet. Fathoms, measurement that goes with depths. And when it comes to this context, I can't fathom what he says. What does it mean? I can't understand what he says. Unfathomable, difficult to understand, an important word. Part of speech adjective, impossible to understand, shocking or unbelievable. Unbelievable, we also use the word incredible. Discrimination, already we have got. Unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people. Derive. Derive means to get something from some source. Part of speech verb. Derivation is a noun form, to originate from, to arise out of something, to come out of something. Statute, I usually give the meaning, a written law. Noun, laws enacted by a legislative body. But do remember, statute means what? A written law. That's all about, we have got 15 important words. And today's editorial, very useful in the sense related to, it involves socio-cultural dimension, legal dimension, socio-cultural in the sense stigma, legal dimension, what the laws say, and also advocacy in the sense recommendations and something has to be removed. And on one more dimension, it goes with public health. Keeping these dimensions in mind, Very important editorial. Let us see how it starts and how it goes. What is the title of today's editorial? Taking the leap. The word leap means what? Jump. Take a long jump. We use the word leap literally. But there's one important idiom you have to recollect. The city is growing by leaps and bounds. What does it mean? The city is growing rapidly. Here, taking the leap. Meaning of that, taking the leap suggests a bold, necessary, overdue step forward. We have to take the step forward, that is overdue, means long pending. And the second part, on leprosy in India and discrimination. But first part itself, it implies that India must finally make a decisive move to address lingering discrimination against leprosy, outdated laws, antediluvian, and social stigma related to leprosy. People don't want to contact a leper. The person is called a leper, the disease is called leprosy. The second part says, the subtitle, on leprosy in India and discrimination. This part clarifies that the article will discuss the continued stigma, the discriminatory legal framework, and the urgent reforms required. What is the tone? Encouraging, calling for action, reformist, advocating change, urgent, implying the need for immediate steps, hopeful, suggesting progress is possible, critical of the status quo. Status quo means no change at all, implying India has not moved fast enough. The first sentence of the editorial, discriminatory provisions that impede lives of those with leprosy must go. Discriminatory provisions in the law related to lepers, they must go. Must is used to express a personal obligation imposed by the speaker or the writer. In this context, the writer, the editorial, must go. And these provisions, which provisions that impede, that block lives of those with leprosy must go. What is the meaning of this sentence? Laws that hinder or negatively affect people suffering from leprosy must be abolished. We must abolish something, active voice, something must be abolished, passive voice. Immediately you have to think of both the patterns. And there is one important expression here. A lot of students think suffer with. The word suffer takes a preposition from. How to remember suffer, F is there, from F is there, form a pair. He is suffering from a fever. He is suffering from a fever. But sometimes based on a particular pattern, we don't use the word from. He suffered a heart attack last year. In this sentence pattern, in this context, we don't have to use a preposition from. What is the tone? Because the writer has used must. Another function of must, it is used to convey the idea that something is compulsory. Based on that, assertive, urgent, reformist. Systematic efforts are required. We require systematic efforts, active voice. Systematic efforts are required by us, passive voice. Sentence is in present tense, passive voice. Systematic efforts are required to eliminate stigma that are often seeded by fear. Why do people fear lepers? They hesitate to go near a leper, forget about touching a leper, because some sort of fear. They feel that leprosy is contagious, and when they go close to a leper, they may get leprosy. So seeded by fear means grounded in fear. Because of that fear factor, they don't approach the lepers. Misinformation or ancient beliefs, and to remove the discriminatory attitudes towards those affected. There is a stand taken by the writer. The writer says something is required. What is required? Systematic efforts are required. For what purpose? To eliminate stigma that are often seeded by fear, not only stigma, misinformation or ancient beliefs, and to remove the discriminatory attitudes towards those affected. means those with leprosy. What is the meaning of this sentence? Stigma arises from misconceptions and outdated beliefs. Therefore, structured and sustained actions are needed to remove discrimination against people with leprosy. And what is the tone of this sentence? Prescriptive means the writer is suggesting something. Concerned, advocacy oriented, trying to do something for lepers. The Supreme Court of India's intervention to battle stigma and discrimination in the case of leprosy is a corrective action that couldn't have been delayed any further. Court has intervened because the law also discriminates. The sentence talks about the legal dimension, and there's one important pattern: couldn't have been delayed, that is in passive voice. First, you have to know the function of the sentence pattern. Could plus have plus verb, past participle form. I could have done it. They could have won the match. What does it mean? There was a possibility for something to happen in the past, but it did not happen. Then we use this pattern. India could have won the match. I could have got the job. I could have done something. Means there was a possibility, but it did not happen. And here it is in passive voice. I could have done the work, active voice. The work could have been done by me, passive voice. Here, couldn't have been delayed any further. Means already delayed, and further delay is not acceptable. What is the meaning of this sentence? The Supreme Court's move to address discrimination against leprosy affected individuals is long overdue. They should have done it. We use should have done this pattern to talk about unfulfilled duty or a neglected action. Tone is appreciative. One, court's intervention appreciative. Critical of the delay, but at the same time critical based on the delay. On a direction from the court, now the writer tells us the court's intervention, what exactly the court has said. On a direction from the court, the NHRC recently submitted that 97 central and state laws continue to contain provisions that discriminate against persons with leprosy. Continue to control. Contain has two meanings. When you see something, a box, you may ask, what does it contain? That is one meaning, a literal meaning. What is the other meaning of contain? To restrict. To contain means to restrict, to control. What is the meaning of this? Based on the court's intervention, NHRC reported that there are still how many laws? 97 laws that discriminate lepers, both at the center and state level, containing discriminatory clauses, and obviously they have to be removed immediately. Tone revealing and critical. In sum and substance, I told you the other day also, now mains exam, in place of, when it comes to close test, fillers, in place of words, they are giving phrases. And you have to learn phrases from the newspapers. This is an important expression you have to remember. Phrases, idioms, phrasal verbs, very important. In sum and substance, in a nutshell, these provisions deny access to things as basic as public transport and public spaces, a right to run for elected office, and access to employment or running a business venture. In sum, in total and substance, the essence of these 97 laws, they have been denied the fundamental rights as basic as, one, they cannot travel, they cannot use public transport, they cannot go to public spaces, and second, they don't have the right to run for elected office, they don't have access to employment, or they cannot run or start a business venture. These are all not acceptable. Meaning of this, These discriminatory laws restrict fundamental rights such as using public transport, entering public places, contesting elections, or engaging in work or business. All these come under fundamental rights. They are being denied. What is the tone? Critical, emphatic. They have to be removed. The court was hearing a batch of. Now, why this has come into limelight? Now the writer tells us what is the stimulus to write this editorial, what has triggered for the newspaper to publish an article related to leprosy. The court was hearing a batch of petitions contend means to contest, to argue, to debate, that there were a number of provisions across central and state statutes, written law, that discriminate against persons with leprosy. Someone must have filed a case against the discrimination, and based on that, the court had to intervene, the court had to direct the NHRC, meaning the court was examining multiple petitions claiming that various laws still discriminate against people with leprosy. What is the tone? Informative and formal. Caused mainly by the bacterium. Now the writer tells us, why do people get bone of contention, cause of dispute, apple of discord? You have to recollect. Very good. Somu. Why do people get leprosy? Here the writer throws light regarding why people get leprosy. Caused mainly by the bacterium. Bacterium singular, bacteria plural. Mycobacterium leprae. Leprosy is among the earliest known infections to affect humans, with skeletal evidence dating back to 2000 BCE. Dating back to. These expressions are very important. Yes, you should recollect a number, the number. Who is this? Looks like Srinu. Very good. I appreciate. What is the meaning of this? Leprosy is a very ancient disease caused by a specific bacterium with human evidence from as early as, this is also an important expression, as early as 2000 BCE. What is the tone? Scientific, factual, historical. Scientific, telling the cause, the bacterium, and factual, it's a fact, and historical, dates back to 2000 BCE. Today, India continues to report about 57% of leprosy cases worldwide with genetic predisposition and living in unsanitary conditions, raising the susceptibility. This talks about what is the percentage Indian contribution when compared to the world. It is really shocking. More than 50% lepers from India, it seems. Today, India continues to report about 57% of leprosy cases worldwide. Out of 100 with leprosy, 57 belong to India. And what could be the reason? Two factors. One, genetic predisposition means something like hereditary, living in unsanitary conditions, unhygienic, unsanitary, places which are not neat, which are not spick and span, and you don't see healthy hygienic conditions, perhaps reason for susceptibility. Meaning, India accounts for more than half of all global leprosy cases. 57 means more than half. Factors like genetics and poor sanitation increase a risk. One is genetic, hereditary. The other one, poor sanitation, could be the reason for the risk of getting leprosy. What is the tone? Concerned plus alarming, because 57%, not a small thing. The NHRC, based on the court's direction, what is the action taken by the NHRC? The NHRC, which has been in pursuit of, has been present perfect active voice, in pursuit of, an important phrase, pursuit of, it takes a preposition of, that you have to catch. This issue since 2021 first put out a comprehensive document. It has come out with a comprehensive, exhaustive document this document has recommended two things. Recommended early identification, two or three things: timely treatment, rehabilitation, and removing discriminatory practices. All these things should be done for what purpose? To ensure dignity and equal access to fundamental rights for persons with leprosy. They should have equal access to fundamental rights, and we cannot deny the fundamental rights to those with leprosy. Meaning of this, NHRC has been working since 2021. Present perfect continuous. What is the use of present perfect continuous? Actions begin in the past, come to the present, may go into future. Then we use present perfect continuous. Has been working on this matter since 2021 and issued guidelines promoting early detection, treatment, rehabilitation, and removal of discrimination. What is the tone? Supportive, advisory, policy oriented. This includes a plea to the center to enact a law to replace derogatory terminology. Based on this, they have made an appeal to the center to do something. One is legal, the other one is removing the stigma. To replace derogatory terminology that persists in the laws of the land, and a pointed recommendation to the Unique Identification Authority of India to promote the use of iris scans for Aadhaar enrollment. Why iris scans? As leprosy primarily affects the fingertips, though through nerve damage. This NHRC has made recommendations to the center. How many recommendations? Two. One talks about removing the derogatory terminology from the 97 laws, central and state laws. 97 are there and they do contain the derogatory terminology, and they recommended that terminology has to be replaced. Second recommendation, because when a person gets affected, imagine someone gets leprosy, the fingertips, they don't look normal. They're eaten away by the bacterium. And based on that, they cannot give the thumb impression. And when it comes to Aadhaar enrollment, that doesn't work. Based on that, the NHRC has recommended iris scan as a solution. What is the meaning of this? NHRC asked the government to, one, replace insulting terms still used in legal documents. Two, encourage other iris scans instead of fingerprint scans because leprosy damages fingertips. What is the tone of this sentence? Practical, reformist. Given that a plethora of medical advancements, today we are in the 21st century, so much of advancement in the field of medicine, keeping that in mind, given that a plethora, there's also an important expression, we have got plethora many a time. Plethora means what? In abundance, excess of something. Given that a plethora of medical advancements have enabled leprosy to be a non-infectious condition, why do people fear leprosy? Because they feel it is contagious. But today, based on advancements in medical field, it is non-infectious condition. To be a non-infectious condition and be fully curable with the right interventions, we can cure with right interventions. It will be a shame to allow these discriminatory antediluvian provisions to continue to be in force. Sentence says, today so much of medical advancement and it has become non-infectious disease. When this is a scenario, we continue with antediluvian laws, means outdated laws. It is a shame. A very strong word has been used. A shame to allow these discriminatory antediluvian provisions to continue to be in force. Meaning, modern medicine has made leprosy non-infectious and fully curable. So continuing outdated discriminatory laws is shameful. Very strong word. Tone critical, strongly condemnatory. Very strong, in fact. The judges directed all states and union territories to submit reports detailing the steps that they have initiated in this regard. The court has directed the states and UTs to report what steps have been taken. The Supreme Court ordered all states UTs to report actions taken to remove discrimination. What is the tone? Directive, procedural. Goes more with procedure. In fact, armed with the evidence that the NHRC has provided, the centre and states must set themselves the urgent task of removing these provisions and launching remedial action. Now they have the evidence. Keeping that in mind, they have to do something. They have to take action and have to go in for remedial action. Meaning, with sufficient data available, the government must urgently eliminate discriminatory laws and implement corrective measures. They have to replace the discriminatory or derogatory terminology and have to initiate or implement corrective measures. Tone urgent and instructive. How does the editorial end? In this day and age, another important phrase you have to focus on, in this age and in this day and age, means at the present scenario, looking at the present scenario. In this day and age, it is unfathomable, difficult to understand that the state continues to trap a group of citizens in the dark ages. They are trapped in the dark ages. Dark ages means we do not have the scientific knowledge based on laws written by humans who did not know better. These laws were written in the past. That time the science was not advanced. And when science was not advanced, we use the term dark ages. And they were written that time. Now they have no relevance and no point in continuing with those antediluvian laws. What is the meaning? It is unacceptable that the government still enforces outdated, ignorant laws that oppress people with leprosy. We don't have the right to oppress people with leprosy. We cannot deny the fundamental rights to lepers. That is the actual stand taken by the writer. Condemnatory, outraged, morally charged. Outrage means anger. Angry. That's all about today's editorial, an important one. Do remember, when you read an editorial, it is not only for editorial vocabulary, but also for comprehension skill, higher level, and that will help in the real sense. Besides, contextual awareness, effective English, standard phrases, phrasal verbs, idioms, all these. Try to answer the first question. Which of the following assumptions underlies the editorial's argument? Someone has already answered. C. Social attitudes can change when the state amends the discriminatory laws. True. We cannot consider stigma can only be removed through legal reforms. Leprosy would disappear if sanitation improved. People with leprosy prefer iris scans over fingerprints. NHRC has complete authority to rewrite central statutes. No. The author's tone throughout the editorial can best be described as: the writer has taken a very strong stand, has used very strong words throughout the editorial. So what is that? It is not neutral and descriptive. It is not encouraging but detached. It is not no doubt analysis, but not mild optimism. Throughout the editorial, a writer has been critical, urgent, and reform-oriented. That means the answer is D. Very good. I appreciate. You guys got it right. What is the most plausible reason? The editorial mentions skeletal evidence dating back to 2000 BCE. In the editorial, the writer talks about this has been there since 2000 BCE. So what does it convey? What is the reason to mention that? To show that leprosy is an incurable ancient disease, to highlight how long society has misunderstood the disease, to argue for archaeological reforms, to show that ancient societies had better health care, to prove leprosy has become more dangerous over time. It is only to highlight people have misunderstood leprosy since 2000 BCE. Answer is B. The mention of using iris scans for Aadhaar enrollment primarily serves to highlight that the NHRC recommended two things. One is removal of derogatory terminology. Second, going in for iris scans instead of thumb impression. What is the reason? Leprosy affects fingertips. Leprosy affects the fingertips, making fingerprint-based systems exclusionary. Answer should be B, yes. Which of the following statements, if true, would most strengthen the editorial's argument? Of these options, one particular option strengthens the stand taken by the editorial. Which one is that? Research shows that 95% of people are naturally immune. A neighboring country, not relevant here. A new medical report reveals rising leprosy, no. A state government has removed all discriminatory legal provisions and witnessed better social inclusion outcomes. This will strengthen. Yes, very good. 5D. Wonderful. That's all for today. It has taken almost 47 minutes. I'm trying to see the time based on this analysis. I think we can squeeze in some time to include mini mocks. I'll try to get mini mocks from tomorrow. Now 3 days, I got a fair idea how much time it takes, sentence-wise analysis, meaning, tone. Say about 45 minutes, including the front page snippets and headlines. 15 minutes we can squeeze in and work on mini mocks. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.